Welcome to the channel. Today, we will follow a story that makes the whole market go crazy. A young girl, because she trusted an acquaintance, accidentally became the center of an investigation into fake eggs. Was Tu Qian really wrong? Or was she just the victim of a sophisticated plot? Let's watch and feel. This morning, the gentle sunlight filtered through the thin bamboo curtain, waking Tu Qian up after a short but restless sleep. She sat up, smoothed her messy hair, her eyes still a bit dazed from worry. But then, like a habit that had been ingrained in her blood, she quickly stepped out into the yard, taking a deep breath of the cool air of the countryside in the early morning. A new day began, and for Tu Qian, it was another day to continue the journey that she had never allowed herself to give up, bringing clean food to the market. With her own hands and faith, she packed up a few baskets of vegetables that she had just harvested, washed them to remove dirt, then neatly arranged them in her familiar bamboo basket. The eggplants, the bundles of water spinach, the young cabbages, all were the fruits of the small garden that she had painstakingly tended for the past few months. But today, there was something different in Tu Qian's eyes, a new ray of hope. An opportunity that she vaguely heard from her neighbors. They said that at the beginning of the village, near the old hill, a clean egg farm had just opened, supposedly raising eggs in a free-range style, without chemicals or preservatives. Hearing that, Tu Qian's heart fluttered slightly. If she could get a good source of eggs, she could expand her stall, making a little more profit to cover her living expenses. Without hesitation, Tu Qian tied her hair, picked up her basket, and put on her old, discolored conical hat. She walked quickly toward the red dirt road leading to the beginning of the village. On both sides of the road, the wild grass swayed in the wind as if sending her off. Her feet walked, her heart filled with excitement. Every time she finds a new food source. For Tu Qian, it is not just a business, but also a careful choice for those who trust her. For the housewives at the market who are willing to stop by to buy an egg, a bunch of vegetables, because they believe that Tu Qian's food is clean and healthy. Today, that journey suddenly feels lighter. She doesn't know where this journey will lead her, but she believes that as long as she does the right thing, everything will be fine. The dirt road leading to the village entrance meandered through the dry fields. Some places were full of rocks and stones. Some were full of ox-cart wheel tracks imprinted on the ground. Sweat began to bead on her forehead. But Tu Qian still walked steadily, her heart eager as if pulled by the vague hope ahead. A moment later, she saw a small, crooked wooden sign on the other side of the road. Painted in red, Tu Tam Chicken Farm, clean eggs for sale. She nodded slightly and walked in. In front of her was a large open space, fenced with rusty wire mesh. Inside, there were a few dozen chickens huddled under the tree roots, looking healthy, although not as crowded as she had imagined. An elderly woman, short and stocky, wearing a conical hat with frayed edges, was sitting on the porch picking chicken feathers. Seeing her enter, she looked up, her eyes slightly examining, then quickly smiled politely. Looking for eggs, dear? There are still a few today, but the eggs are very beautiful. I just picked them up this morning. Tu Qian bowed politely, then looked at the baskets of eggs placed near the foot of the column. The eggs were neatly arranged. The shells were clean and even. Surprisingly even. She bent down to pick one up. It felt a bit light, but she didn't doubt it, perhaps because the chickens were free range. The eggs were smaller than the industrial eggs. She asked the price, and the woman said a fairly reasonable number. Cheaper than the price at the morning market. Just take a few dozen eggs to try selling. If they sell well, I'll set them aside for you next time. There are a lot of buyers here, but they always sell out early. Hearing the goodwill invitation, combined with her belief in the clean and healthy journey, Tu Qian nodded. She bought more than 50 eggs, carefully wrapped them in a basket, not forgetting to thank them, and left. On the way back, her heart was filled with joy. She believed she had just found a new opportunity to develop her stall. But somewhere behind, the woman glanced at Tu Qian's fading back, then let out a long sigh. She turned back into the house, took a few more cartons of eggs from an old styrofoam box. Her hands were nimble, but her eyes were empty, as if this had been repeated many times. The market that morning was busier than usual. The cries of the hawkers, the sounds of people bargaining, the sound of three-wheeled vehicles weaving through the small alleys created a bustling, familiar atmosphere. Tu Qian weaved through the crowd, choosing the old spot next to the banyan tree near the end of the row, the place that the people around here still used to call Tu's clean vegetable stall. She spread out the tarp, arranged the vegetables neatly, then took the eggs from the bamboo basket, gently placing them on the tray as if afraid of scratching them. Her heart was pounding, both hoping that the eggs would sell quickly, and thinking to herself, am I on the right track? In less than half an hour, a few regular customers had stopped by. Are these eggs fresh, dear? Free-range chickens? I'll take a dozen. Give me 20. Tu's stuff is the most reassuring. Tu Qian smiled in thanks, her hands quickly wrapping the goods, not forgetting to tell the customers to keep them carefully when they get home. However, while she was weighing the vegetables, a voice behind her made her stop. Who is selling eggs here? She turned around and saw 3 men in plain clothes but wearing red name tags. Their eyes stern, one of them held out a piece of paper with a red stamp. We have received reports that fake eggs are being sold at this market. Please check the goods. The people around her began to whisper. Tu Qian stood up in a panic, her hands still covered in dirt from the basket of vegetables. She stammered, yes, I just got the eggs this morning. I don't know anything. They carefully took a few eggs from her stall and placed them on a nearby stone table. One of them took a small lighter and heated the shell. In just a few seconds, a strange burning smell rose. The other person lightly cut the egg with a thin knife. Inside the fragile shell was a liquid mixture like glue, without any real yolk or white. The whole market was dead silent. These are fake eggs, made from gelatin and industrial chemicals. Very dangerous if eaten, the officer said sternly. Tu Qian was stunned. Her eyes widened, her lips trembled, her hands clutched the faded brown dress. She wanted to explain, wanted to scream that she didn't do it on purpose. But no one asked. All the looks at that moment were no longer trust, but suspicion, alienation. She could only stand in the middle of the market, her heart aching in waves as if someone was squeezing it. Tu Qian lowered her head, tears falling down. She didn't expect that her trust in strangers would lead her to this situation. All her life she had been careful with each bunch of vegetables, each egg, but just one mistake, all her efforts seemed to collapse. Amidst the suspicious gazes, amidst the whispers, Tu Qian stood still as if petrified. Her hands trembled, her face pale. Some people took a step back. Some took back the bag of eggs they had just bought. Some turned to whisper something unkind. I thought he was gentle, but he also sells fake goods. I bought it to eat. What can I do now? At that moment, from afar came the sound of hurried footsteps and an urgent call. Tu Qian, are you okay? Jack appeared, his face covered in sweat, his shirt covered in dust from running a long distance. He had just returned from the construction site when he heard the bad news from a friend who went to the market, immediately dropping everything to rush over. Without waiting for Tu Qian to reply, Jack quickly stepped forward to block between her and the group of people who were questioning her. His eyes flashed with determination and anger. She doesn't sell fake goods. I'm the one who follows every shipment of hers. Clean vegetables, clean chicken, and eggs that she just bought this morning from a place she believes are real. The officer said sternly, are you a relative? Then please cooperate to clarify. Current evidence shows that these eggs show signs of being fake and dangerous. Jack looked at the cut egg, then turned to Tu Qian. She still couldn't say anything, just choked up looking at him, her eyes red with resentment. Without waiting another second, Jack took out his phone, opened the recording of the conversation between Tu Qian and the woman selling eggs, the call he accidentally recorded the day before when he heard her say she intended to go get the goods. Here, this is proof that she did not produce or know anything about fake eggs. In this recording, the egg seller confirmed that the eggs were just picked up this morning. Clean, Free-range chickens. If necessary, I am ready to go with you to that farm to verify. The room fell silent for a few seconds. The officers checked the equipment, listening to each word in the recording. One of them nodded slightly, taking notes. No longer as harsh as before. They said, "Thank you, we will continue to investigate. For now, temporarily detain these eggs and trace their origin." As for Tu Qian, she lowered her head, her two hands tightly clutching Jack's shirt. She did not cry out loud, just trembled. He gently squeezed her shoulder. His eyes softened, and whispered loud enough for her to hear. "I'm here. I won't let anyone frame you. Not even once."